Hi, it's Paul Green here. I'm here to talk about the ethical awards that were launched a few weeks back. The idea is just to give you guys an overview. So whoever's listening to this live or watching on the replay, then feel free to ask some questions just to make sure you know what it's all about and why we're doing it. And I'm joined by one of our judges today, Roger. Hi, Roger. Just want to introduce yourself and let people know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, hi Paul, thanks for inviting me along. And yes, I'm Roger Eddowes from Essendon Accounts and Tax. It's a clue in the title, I'm an accountant, but also known as the business godparent, because we like to make sure that we are there for our clients, trying to keep them out of trouble and there for advice in that sort of godparent role.
Excellent.
That's me.
So just to give a quick overview of the ethical awards and how they came about, the idea was just to give as level playing field as possible for any business that enters to stand a chance of winning. And by that, I mean it takes it to the point where the judges, of which Roger is one, won't actually see who the company is. They'll just sort of say, here are the criteria against which they're being judged. Here are the answers, and the judges are just looking at them blindly, effectively. So hopefully that gives us as clear an objective way of judging any entrant. And if there's anything within the application that gives the company away, then we'll basically redact that just to make sure that it's not obvious to the judges. And if they do recognise a particular business and decide that they should sort of abstain from judging that particular entry, then we can manage that as well. So there's no real conflict of interest. So Roger, you kindly dived in to be a judge when I invited you. So what had you become part of this, and what sort of things would you be looking for in anybody that's considering entering?
So first of all, it's nice to be involved, Paul, especially when it's ethical awards. I'm always a bit worried about awards being handed out for businesses. Hate to say it, that you could pay for an award and get yourself a thing. So it's nice to be involved in something that's not sort of focused on the monetary element. But obviously, from my point of view, as a judge, I will obviously be looking at the businesses from a sort of financial aspect, but not necessarily, whether you've made a profit or you made a loss or whatever, but more about whether you've got the systems in place and the knowledge about your finances. Because I'm very passionate about, you can't really make a business decision without having all the facts in front of you. And one of those key components is having that financial data, because whatever decision you make will have an impact. So I'll be looking to see how clued people are up on their finances and their systems, and etc. Yeah. So that's my angle mainly.
Excellent. And it's probably worth saying that the judges that I invited to come along, I've tried to get a balance of people covering all aspects of business. So Roger's obviously my finance guy. The other judges have a sales, marketing, operational, resources, strategy element to them. So they'll be looking at applications with a different set of eyes, which hopefully then makes it a good holistic balance when any entry is being judged. So I'll go through the categories in a minute, but it's fairly straightforward to enter. You can just go to the website that's on the ticker tape going on across the bottom, ethical-awards.co.uk. You'll see access to the different categories there. For each one, it's very clear what the criteria are against which you're applying. So the reason that we've done that is just so, again, you've got as level playing field as possible to make sure that you can be judged equally versus anybody else that does it. So it'll be different. The criteria isn't exactly the same for all the categories. It will vary depending on whichever the category is. And there's also two sort of catch-all questions on each of the application forms. And again, it's not a long-winded application form. Most of the applications we're getting in will cover 2 pages total, so it's not a cumbersome thing where we're looking for war and peace in terms of an application. But the 2 catch-all questions are he says, trying to remember what they are, is there anything you'd like to sort of submit in order to supplement your application that hasn't been covered? So you've got an opportunity to put a few more things in there specific to you. And the other one is why should you win the award versus anybody else? So it's got the flexibility for you to add and embellish your application with those sort of free form questions, really. So, yeah, anything else from your point of view, Roger, in terms of who you'd like to see applying? Shall I share the topics, actually? If I just
Yes, that'd
get,
be a good idea.
yeah. So going across the bottom now, we've got 10 different areas. So people can apply to up to 3. So it's business person, young business, small business, growth, team, innovation, customer service, employer, technology, and green. So you may fit into one or more of those categories. So yeah, anybody you'd expect to be reaching out and sort of putting their name in the hat, as it were, Roger.
Well, but the category is quite a broad spectrum there, so there's really no excuse for anyone not to be able to enter into something, even if you're your own sole trader business. You might not employ anyone, but certainly you might be in technology or innovation or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity for anyone to enter into this awards.
Yeah, and it's worth saying these aren't geographic based. They cover the whole of the UK. They're not restricted in terms of size of business. Obviously you would need to have a reasonable sized business to demonstrate team, I guess. But having said that, there might be 2 in the business where you can demonstrate, that you are highly working together as a team. So yeah, it's just take a look at some of the categories, have a look, see which one fits for you. It's worth saying that, again, touching on what Roger said, you can go out there and buy an award. I had an experience of applying to one of these things, and funnily enough, I am the Business Community of the Year in a particular area. I'm not going to be using that because it was just something that was given to me without me being judged fairly against anybody else. So I'm not going to be using that and saying I'm award winning, because I don't believe it's an ethical award. But we do, different to a lot of awards, we do charge an admin fee. So you will have to pay £25 in order to put an application in. You will get that refunded if your category doesn't go ahead. So we're looking for a minimum of 3 people in each category, which gives it's no point in having one person in a category and you winning that award. That wouldn't be fair to me, that just because you're the only person there you get the award. So yeah, and also the finalists will be capped at 5. So if more people apply, that's fine, but we will cap it to 5 finalists. And but what you'll also get, whoever you are, whether you make it as a finalist or not, if you want feedback on your application, we're able to do that. And again, I'm not sure what your experience of awards are, Roger, but I'm not sure whether there's any that will actually give you feedback on your application.
I've never entered an award, but I've never heard of anyone getting a feedback. So, but I think that's quite valuable, because it's always getting free business advice along the way, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Christina Robinson of Green Umbrella, who's one of the sponsors, she featured me on her live stream event that she does every week called GU Lunch. And it was funny because I'd only thought that the feedback would initially be for those people that weren't successful as a finalist or weren't successful as winning it. And she has now changed that criteria. So actually, if you win, you can also get feedback. And her premise was that it's as useful for a winner to get feedback. So if they're going to promote themselves and say, look, we won the Small Business of the Year for the ethical awards, and these are some of the reasons why, because we can give them specific feedback, then it enhances the award rather than it just being here's the badge, here's the certificate. It's actually adding some value because they can say what aspect of their application actually worked for them to have them win it. So that was something I hadn't contemplated, but it's something that, again, yes, if you want to get your feedback on whether you're a winner or a finalist or just an applicant, then you'll get all that feedback for you, which hopefully will enable you to enhance your position, your application in a future year. So Roger, is there any reason why you've not applied for awards as a business yourself?
Well, mainly because I've not found one that I'm comfortable with entering into, to be fair. I've always, well, be careful what I say, I suppose, but I always see it as sort of gala dinners, and you pay £1,000 for your table, and that almost guarantees you an award at the end of it. And that's not how I think you should earn awards. I think it should be done on sort of proper assessment and a panel of people, assessing and coming to their judgments rather than. But I've yet to find that one that I'd be comfortable with until you came along, Paul.
Okay, well, I'll have to sack you as a judge for next year, and then you can apply as an entrant. Because that's the other thing that's worth saying. We're not having because it's a UK wide thing. We're not having a formal ceremony. We will have a virtual ceremony, but like the Oscars, if you can't make it and you still win, you don't have to be there to be in the game. You know, it's not one of these things where you have to be at the award ceremony in order to be eligible. If you win on your own merit, as judged by the criteria for any of the category that you enter, then you will win it. If you can't make the virtual ceremony, that's absolutely fine. You know, hopefully we can get in touch with you and might have a little video from you so you can do a little acceptance speech if that's the way we're going to do it. But yeah, we've tried to remove all the hurdles that I think get in the way or would prevent people from coming into these awards because they think there's some bias. It's also worth saying, I'm not saying that every award scheme out there is anyway dodgy. There are the Kettering Business Awards, for example, come to mind. They have a very similar approach to us, very ethical approach. And I think, you know, if you are entering an award scheme, it's worth just looking at what the values and what the ethics of those awards are. Yes, you can go out and effectively buy an award. That's fine. That's the business model of those people that run it that way. But, you know, I just think that, yeah, just sort of check out which awards you're going to apply for. And hopefully we're providing something that people are going to feel is open and honest, and they stand as fair a chance as anybody else applying. So let's have a little sip. So I don't think there's anything else that I need to cover. I've probably forgotten something, but that's the way that it goes. So if you're listening to this on replay, if you've got any questions, then please do put the comments wherever you're listening to this, and we'll get back to you and answer your questions. And that's it. So thanks for joining me today, Roger.
It's a pleasure.